Welcome to Unstoppable Agent. This is the show where real estate agents come to build their business, build their wealth, and build a life of impact and significance. That's what we're all after in this world, is impact and significance.
I couldn't explain it. Like when I got that call, like the first offer accepted, my heart was racing. I was just jumping up. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I just love being an agent. Then the pandemic happened, and that's when my business really shot up, because there was two things. I was either going to the hospital, and I was working in New York City where the pandemic was just going crazy.
This show's great because we get to celebrate others. We get to celebrate icons, people that have made a contribution, really built a great business at EXP. It's the top 2% of real estate agents out of more than 85,000 at EXP. So it's pretty exciting. You know, today I'm excited because I get to learn from Michael Wilches from New Jersey, close to the New York City area. So Michael, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me here, Brian. Pleasure.
Yeah, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited to celebrate you because you did something that 98% of agents don't do, and that's build a great big business and earn the Icon Award at EXP. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. It wasn't easy, I'll tell you that much.
It's not easy. It's not easy, but you did it. And you know, I think a lot of companies, they give away a certificate or a plaque. You know, even at EXP, we give away these. It's a trophy. They get one of these kind of things. But at EXP, you also get a little something else, don't you?
Yes, you get basically you get your cap back, $16,000 that we paid our broker. We get back in company stock, which I believe gets vested for 3 years. And then after that, hopefully the stock is much higher than what it is today presently, which I am very firm believer in our company. I believe the stock is going to shoot up. I'm no expert, but just seeing everything that's going on, I think this 16,000 could eventually become, who knows, 50,000, 100 grand.
Yeah, it's amazing when you look at it. And let's insert the disclaimer here that neither one of us are stockbrokers nor insiders, so we have no idea. However, we do know that we are debt free, we are cash flow positive, and our agent count grew 30% this last year. If you look at, I didn't mean to go through all this, but in the last couple of weeks, so many people, so many companies have announced their earnings, and they're down 14%, they're down 20%, they're down however much. And our version of down is we grew slower. So our sales grew 6% while others are shrinking. So it was whether that was Keller Williams or Compass or a lot of the big boys out there are actually shrinking. We're still growing. Michael, I think your prediction is a good one. I think you're spot on.
When I first joined, the company stock was much slower.
Yeah,
so it's been growing very great.
I think my first Icon Award was like at $4.50. Do I want it to be higher? Yep, but it's pretty darn good so far. So it's pretty great. So tell us about you. You gave me a little bit of your story before we got started, but tell our audience just what caused you to get into this crazy business and how'd you get started?
Honestly, when I first got started, it was by accident. I had no idea I wanted to become a real estate agent.
Okay.
What first got me into even real estate was listening to the Bigger Pockets podcast. I discovered what house hacking was, and the idea was just like, I couldn't stop thinking about it. So back in 2018, all I kept doing was contacting real estate agents and looking at multifamily properties. What I did learn was that at the time, I don't know, there was some really good agents, but then there was some agents that weren't really good. And there was just a lot of disconnect with my schedule and their schedule. So eventually I was like, should I just become an agent? Because I couldn't find a deal that made sense for me. And sometimes I felt like the agents at the time were just like, I was like inconvenience to their time. But I just knew what I wanted, and the deals that I wanted to see weren't there. I eventually got my real estate license, and I just started looking for myself. And at the time I was like, I had access to the MLS. People started reaching out for me for their first investment properties, and I eventually found a house for myself. And during the process, I was helping people find houses for them. And compared to being a registered nurse, where that's my background, I'm a registered nurse in New York City, I just loved the whole experience. I love working with people. I love just helping people. When I helped my first clients get their first multifamily investment property, the feeling was just, I don't know, it was just, I couldn't explain it. Like when I got that call, like the first offer accepted, my heart was racing. I was just jumping up. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I just love being an agent. Then the pandemic happened, and that's when my business really shot up, because there was two things. I was either going to the hospital, and I was working in New York City where the pandemic was just going crazy at Columbia, the hospital I was working at. And the thing that helped me get by during such a depressing time, seeing patients like constantly die, even the morgue guy was picking up bodies every hour, because in New York City, in Manhattan, it was really bad. It was just what we were seeing it was crazy. So psychologically, it was very tough on me. But what was helping me get by was helping my clients at the time buy homes. I was very big on social media. I was using Instagram a lot, and through Instagram is when I just started getting contact left and right from either other medical professionals, people that were just in my sphere of influence, and I just helped a lot of people buy homes my first year with EXP Realty.
So were other people, when you say that other medical pros were reaching out, were they reaching out to move out of the city, to move out to the burbs? Like in the middle of the pandemic, what was causing folks to move all over the place?
Good question. So where I live, it's very close to New York City. I'm by the Fort Lee Edgewater area. Through the George Washington Bridge, you could get into the city in 20 minutes. So a lot of medical professionals at the time were paying tremendous rent in New York City just to live in a little shoebox. And when rates were like 2.5, everyone was curious, like, what can a house in Jersey look like? So I would explain to them, like, you can get a mortgage of $3,000 and you'll have a backyard, basement, 4-bedroom house, not just a 2-bedroom little space in Manhattan. So a lot of people were just contacting me to move to New Jersey because it was such an easy commute, and a lot of people were working from home at the time, so they didn't mind the whole commute if they had to like eventually go back into the city, because it's just New Jersey became very popular after the pandemic. People from Manhattan saw the trend, and now even till this day I'm still getting calls from Manhattan, Bronx, Yonkers. Everyone still calls me to move to New Jersey just because our houses, you can get a nice home for $500,000, $600,000, have a backyard, have a basement, and all that stuff. Things that you can't have in the city. So.
Versus the studio apartment in the city for similar numbers, probably. Well, so that's awesome. So tell me about the transition. I want to come back to your brokerage transition, but for now, tell me about your transition from, because you just recently left full-time nursing and officially have gotten into full-time, I like to say realtoring, for being a full-time realtor. So tell me about that transition. Like what came into play? What were your considerations deciding, when to do it? When's the right time to do it? Tell me about all that.
So the transition was hard for me because a little bit was my ego. It was telling me, I did 4 years of nursing. I'm a medical professional. I should still work my profession. I was making a good 6-digit salary, had benefit. I had everything that you could ask for. I can go to any doctor in the city, New Jersey, not pay really any copay, if anything. So it was really tough. It took me almost 3.5 years to switch over full time.
Okay, yeah.
But in the background, what was actually the reason I didn't switch over like my first year was because I was just attempting to buy multifamilies with my W-2 job.
Okay. Yep.
Being that I was a realtor starting off, they're not using my commissions because I think you need 3 years in the business to really use that income to buy an investment property. So I was using my W-2 nursing job to buy my investment.
Yep.
So I'm actually on my second one right now. I bought one in Garfield, New Jersey. That was a 3-family. And then I just bought another 3-family this year, 2022. So after I bought that second multifamily, I quit my job, and now I'm just pursuing what I love to do, which is sell real estate, and I'm helping people in my organization grow too as well in the North and the East Coast.
That's awesome. So really smart actually, and keeping a full-time job, again for the W-2, for so you can get loans until you get your business set up. So that's a consideration that I think most people don't think about. I didn't, believe it or not. When I first got started in real estate, I had a corporate exec gig, and I left a big salary and benefits, and honestly I had a big house. So we decided to sell it, and we did. But we didn't really plan through it all. And this was like 3 or 4 months after I'd been in the business. Didn't really plan through it all and couldn't get a loan. Was buying a house that was half as expensive as the one I already owned, but couldn't get a loan because we hadn't been in business for a long time. Congratulations on thinking through it a little better than we did and being ahead of the game. So we learned some lessons are harder to learn than others. So you're at EXP now and have been for a good while. But you didn't start here. Tell us a little bit about maybe why you chose the brokerage you started with, and then what caused you to make the shift.
My previous brokerage, I don't want to say the name because the broker was a very sweet lady. Things were just done the very old school way. You used to have to go into the office to give your commission checks. The split wasn't very competitive. Honestly, I look back, if I had stayed over, I would have lost tremendous money staying at that brokerage. So I'm very glad I made the switch. It's just you had to go to the office. There was desk fees. No one was really ever at the office the times that I went, and it just wasn't my kind of environment. I was probably the youngest real estate agent in the office. I mostly picked that area because it's one of the luxury areas in the market.
Okay, yeah.
But the actual brokerage I joined was a little bit archaic. So I don't know, after 4 months in the business, I met this guy named Darren Sager. He introduced me to EXP Realty, and at the time it was just a commission split, but now being in EXP for going into my 4th year, there's just so much more than just a commission split. There's just the passive income, the retirement plan, leaving my healthcare job, and now I have healthcare through EXP. It's a lot of things that you don't think about in the beginning, but now that I've been with this company and I know so much, it's been such a big blessing.
That's awesome. So actually, let's talk about that. So you were a healthcare provider and now have a healthcare through EXP. So what's been your experience with EXP's healthcare program? Have you had to use it at all? Like, what's been your experience in terms of what we offer with what you've seen in the past?
So I'm fairly new to it. What I pay monthly is not terrible, being that now I'm an entrepreneur. I have health insurance. Right. It's not too bad. I haven't had to use it, thank God. But I'm also, the past 3 years, I've been working 2 full-time jobs. I was working as a nurse for 40 hours, and then as a real estate agent 40 to 60 hours. So I was almost working 100 hours a week. I did gain a lot of weight, and now that I quit my nursing job, I'm losing a lot of weight now, going back into that physical shape I was in my 20s.
Good for you.
I'm hoping not to go to the doctor. But the good thing is I did explore a little bit into it. There are a lot of healthcare providers, especially in the New York area. You just have to go to people in the network. They have an app. The app is pretty good. They already sent me like the insurance card. So a lot of the stuff that I feel comfortable, because it seems like they're really taking, I even got an email that you get your insurance card, make sure you get your insurance card, make sure it has your name on it. So it's just little things that they do care, and they are following up with you, making sure that you're all set up in case something ever does happen.
That's great. They really are. Glenn Sanford, our CEO, is super focused on making sure that agents are well taken care of. You know, he launched Success Health, which is a health coaching organization just to help people get into better shape. There's just a ton there. So you made a decision to move from another brokerage to EXP because I guess you started because the split was better, and then you realized that, oh geez, you're an icon, so you get the cap, so the money you paid into the organization back in stock.
Yeah.
And then, oh, by the way, because you're a friendly guy that likes to help people, you talk to other real estate agents, and because you get referral fees from agents that join our company, we're actually paying you to be here, paying you to be at the company. So we pay you for the privilege of you selling real estate.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So actually, another hesitation for me leaving my full-time job was like, oh man, what if I don't make money selling homes? So what I replaced was I replaced my living salary with my rental income. So my mortgage is pretty much covered. And then I have the revenue share by EXP that some months it almost comes very close to what I was making as a nurse after taxes. I would say I'm like financially free in some sense. So because of this company, it's quite amazing.
It's pretty, and you're a young guy, right? So when you look at that and how much of your life you have ahead of you and how much more that can grow, and you're already looking at a financially free situation, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, sometimes you feel like it's not real life, honestly. I'm like, this is just too good to be true. But it's because I had the disciplines at a younger age. Save money, put that small money away for an investment home, get your real estate license. A lot of people in the beginning, I had people in the beginning tell me that, oh, you're not going to do well as a real estate agent. You, real estate? Well, I got a lot of people were downplaying me a little bit. In the beginning, my mindset wasn't as strong as it is now. So I was listening to some of the people at the time, and it did slow me down a little bit. But then over time, you just read books, you watch a lot of YouTube videos, go into EXP University, attend. I think when I joined, it was only like 30 hours a week. Now I heard this week is 80 hours. I'm like, holy cow. Or 80 classes this week. So
yeah, it's absolutely nuts. You can't even keep up. So let's go back. Let's talk a little bit more about your real estate. You mentioned that I think 80% of your business comes from social media. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what are you? I mean, that's a lot. That's great. And so you've got an attractive business, and that 80% of it comes from social media. How do you do that? That's great.
It's honestly just being disciplined. People think I love posting on Instagram, which I don't hate it. It's like another job. It's just I have to be diligent, posting on social media and posting things that maybe my audience like. I post a lot of lifestyle, like me doing when I'm at an inspection. I post the story, me at an inspection. If I'm doing an appraisal, I'll post that. Now reels are big on Instagram, so now I'm making reels with my clients are closing a deal at the closing table. That excitement, I try to get that in video, and now I'm posting that on my reels. And I'm actually transitioning now to YouTube, so like now I'm using things like Fiverr.com and creating a banner, creating all these little things that I need for a YouTube page. So now that I mastered Instagram, it's all about the disciplines. If I can discipline myself with Instagram, probably do the same with YouTube, because my area doesn't really have that many realtors that are crushing it with YouTube. So I feel like that's an untapped market. And I'm sure there's a lot of markets where there's not realtors crushing it with YouTube.
So what's great about that is you're just doing life. You're doing your thing, and you're like, okay, I'm here. So here we go. Let's do the video. And you're just doing your thing. And it's not, hey, let's get super creative. Hey, let me do the most magical things. It's, hey, let me show you what it looks like to do what I do. And I'm sure people resonate with that. They like, hey, I like that guy, or I see that guy's hustling, or he answered my question. And you show up consistently, and then over time that resonates with folks.
Oh yeah. There's, I think, the #1 guy in Austin, Texas. I think he moved to Austin 2 years ago. #1 in Texas, like 60 million in volume, icon himself. And I think his main thing was YouTube. And he just started really being consistent, 2 videos a week, branding himself very nicely. And 60 million is a lot.
That's a good business and with relatively low overhead, right? Because it's not, YouTube doesn't have to be an expensive proposition. You certainly can spend a lot of money on production value, but it doesn't have to be, and you get a great return. People get to really get your personality, right? They get to know that, again, hey, I like that guy, or not. And if they don't, that's cool, because then you wouldn't have liked working with him anyway. So it's fine. Everybody's happier that way.
Absolutely. And what I did was I linked my Instagram to my Facebook, and through that link, I delayed doing that for a year, but then once I linked my Instagram to my Facebook, all my content from Instagram just automatically went on Facebook, and I got my very first listing through Facebook, because I did probably like 10 buyer deals before I got my first listing.
It's great.
So I love social media, and I'm anyone that's like starting off, my best advice is to get on social media, because that's the best way to probably get your name out there for free or at a very relative low cost.
That's awesome. Last question I've got for you is, as you look out over next year and what many are predicting to be a more challenging year, how are you preparing for that? What are you doing differently? Is there anything you're doing to prepare and set yourself up for success heading into 23?
So what I'm mostly doing different now than I guess the past 3 years is I'm really just focusing on branding myself. Like everything from every little post that I'm going to have now is going to be branded. So I'm contacting graphic designers, getting all the latest equipment to provide better content. So it's just mostly branding myself. So when the market does correct itself, I'm going to be the first person that comes to mind when these rates drop and buyers are like, let me contact Mike. Sellers are going to be like, I love what he was doing on Instagram, social media. The market's picking up. I can get top dollar. He's probably going to help me get top dollar for my house.
So you're really just, if I were to paraphrase that, you're upping your game. Hey, so what you're doing is working, and you're just taking it to the next level and getting better at the stuff that's working for you.
Yeah, like right now my business has slowed down, but I spoke to a lot of top producing agents in the area, and their business has slowed down. Back in June, I had almost 11 deals under contract. Now I only have 3, but it's okay. For me, it's let me just relax, quit my job. Let me focus on rebranding, because this is actually more powerful in the long run.
Yeah, this is definitely a don't spend it all in one place business. When you have some really good months, it's like, go ahead and save that. And because the winter, and in a variety of ways, winter is coming. Winter is coming. So Mike, thank you for joining me. You were awesome. It was a pleasure getting to know you.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Pleasure being here, and pleasure getting to talk on it. And hopefully, if anyone has questions, to reach out to me through Instagram. My handle is Michael_EXP Realty.
Right on. And we will include, we've got your socials, so we'll include a link to those in the description so folks can find you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.